What is sexual intelligence? How do I become sexually intelligent? How can learning to be sexually intelligent help me improve my sexual life? Is there a school I can attend to learn sexual intelligence? We'll answer those and many other questions in this video. Hi, my name is Julia, and this is my educational and slightly funny channel on all things connected to health, body, pleasure, relationships, and many other topics all around sex. And today we'll learn some cool things about sexual intelligence. Sexual intelligence is this concept that is described brilliantly by Dr. Marty Klein, an American sex therapist and an author in this book that is called, you guessed it, Sexual Intelligence. This is the book. Let's hope that the focus of my camera is not going to be completely destroyed. This is the book. This is exactly why I don't do unboxing videos. Yes, and the number of sticky notes in here does prove that I did read this book myself. It would be weird if I tried making a video on a book that I haven't read myself. I, of course, encourage you guys to get this book on your own and read it out, but we're all busy people, we all know that, so I'm here to convey a few important messages from that book, as well as add a pinch of my own perspective on this concept. And I'm, of course, leaving this up to you to get this book and read it up to find out more details on the concept of sexual intelligence. No pressure. So, we shall commence, shan't we? Where is this coming from? We go through our lives being bombarded with messages about what's normal and what's not in every single aspect of our lives, including our intimate life. We're being taught on how the best and the perfect sex should look like. And normally it goes something along the lines, it should be spontaneous, it should be spicy, it should just happen, nobody should initiate it, it should always end in an orgasm. And blah blah blah.
I don't say blah blah blah.
We somehow assume that if we have a regular partner, that partner should really know what we like in bed, should be able to predict our mood and our preferences. Because we're all dating fortune tellers and mind readers, aren't we? We're being fed with these images of the perfect body and how this perfect body should behave during sex. Always hard, always wet. And the cherry on top of all of that is the fact that we're being told that if we're at least a little bit deviant from these norms, there's something wrong with us, right? Well, let me tell you this, guys. This is bullshit. This is big, fat bullshit. Staying normal will not bring you good sex. Trying to fit those norms made up by God knows who, to be honest, probably someone from the Bureau of Anti-Sexual Pleasure, will not bring you good sex. What it will bring you instead is anxiety about your sexual performance, insecurities about your own body, lack of self-acceptance, and miscommunication with your partner, as well as further troubles in the relationships. Trying to fit those norms is gonna derail you from being the most important thing that you can be in life, your true, authentic self. While we care what is accepted as right in sex, we completely ignore what is it that our body, our mind, and our soul are craving during this beautiful act of sex. Jeez, look at me sound all poetic. But not to worry, guys, this is where the concept of sexual intelligence comes in handy. Sexual intelligence consists of those three parts. It's information or knowledge, it's emotional skills, and it's body awareness. And let's take a look at each one of them. Knowledge. By getting inaccurate information about sex, you can already make a huge leap in your sexual satisfaction and, for example, even deal with some of your insecurities. For example, for the penis owners, that would be finding out some information about the average penis size, or, for example, reading some studies about the fact that women in general do not care as much about the penis size as penis owners think that they do. For this information, you can also check out my videos on the male reproductive system. Or if we take a different example, vagina owners, they can benefit from reading up and finding out that actually most of the vagina owners need clitoral stimulation in order to reach orgasm. And there is nothing wrong with the fact that you are not able to orgasm easily from the penetrative sex on its own. And you guessed it, for more information on these topics, you can watch my female reproductive system videos. In general, we're being fed with the inaccurate information about sex ever since we started discussing this topic. We are being presented with an unrealistic image of how sex should look like. Porn! Sorry. We're being flooded with myths that make no sense, and we have very little resources available to actually seek the accurate information. And that's actually partially the reason why I'm doing this channel, because I want you guys to have access to the accurate information on the topic of sex, and also because it's fun. So do subscribe if you'd like to support me on this mission. Knowledge is power, and by educating yourself on a few matters connected to sex, you can actually make your sex life much more satisfying. In this book called Sexual Intelligence, remember the one that I showed you in the beginning of this video? Dr. Marty Klein actually presents quite a few important facts that can help you debunk those myths. Next, emotional skills. People don't really think about those normally until they realize how important they are and how much people on average are liking them. And having emotional skills is extremely important to have a satisfying sex life. Because guess what? Sex and emotions are very tightly connected. Having emotional skills can help you build a satisfying relationship with your partner, which is a very important ground for satisfying sex. It will be very difficult to impossible to have a satisfying sex with your partner if, for example, you got angry at them a few days ago and you never told them, right? And that's where emotional skills come in handy. They can help you resolve any kind of issues that might not even be directly related to sex, but could be blocking the flow of satisfying sex in your life. The flow of satisfying sex. Now that's the flow that I'd love to go with. Sign me up. Besides that, emotional skills can help you with self-acceptance, which is extremely important. Because really, we cannot possibly expect another person to accept us fully and truly until we accept ourselves fully and truly. And just imagine how satisfying sex could be if you don't have to hide your true desires from your partner and even from yourself. And speaking of desires, not only do emotional skills help you understand your own desires, but they also help you communicate those desires to your partner without feeling afraid or ashamed. And they can also help you listen to your partner while they're communicating their preferences and stay non-judgmental even if your partner's preferences is not exactly that as floating your boat. The boat of sexual preferences floating on the flow of satisfying sex life. I love metaphors. Moreover, you will need those emotional skills to handle different situations that can happen during sex. Because guess what? Sex is really messy and anything can happen. Let's say you accidentally farted during sex. Do you know how to handle this situation? Are you going to let that embarrassment that you might feel after this to creep out on you and block you from having satisfying sex until your brain simply blocks that memory? Or are you actually going to address this together with your partner and maybe even laugh a little about the fact that it happened, move on and have your happy sex again? Happy sex, happy sex. I wonder what happy sex looks like. Or let's take a less drastic example. Tonight you're feeling the groove. You're making the move on your partner and your partner doesn't feel it and they reject you. Do you take this personally and get angry at your partner for the next week and get irritated with every single thing that they do? Or are you gonna just ask your partner only to find out that they were actually overwhelmed with work and they felt really tired that evening and their rejection has nothing to do with you? So the bottom line here is emotional skills play a significant role in building satisfying sex life. Next, body awareness. We don't really realize this, but many of us go through our lives without any single idea of what's happening over here. And I mean, in our body. And knowing and understanding our own bodies is an essential thing for having a satisfying sex. Because guess what? Body takes part in the act of sex. Surprise. Before we proceed, I'd like to know that I'm actually not a big fan of sort of detaching yourself from your own body. So when I say your body, I actually mean you, because you are your body really. You interact with the outside world by means of your body. So when I say knowing and understanding your body is an essential thing, what I really mean is knowing and understanding yourself on your body level is an essential thing. It's just the way the language is built makes it very difficult to emphasize that you are the one with your body, but I do want you to keep this in mind. So, it is essential to be aware of your own body, know how to operate it, and how it relates to the outside world. Do you know where you like being touched? Do you know where your boundaries are? Do you trust your own body? Are you able to accept that it's not perfect? I seriously do not enjoy using the word perfect because really there is no such thing. The only thing that is out there is the unrealistic images that we're being fed with, but okay. Can you give pleasure to yourself? I'm of course referring to the good old act of masturbation. Knowing these things about your body, accepting them the way they are, and eventually learning to love them can help you listen to your body better, rely on the messages that it's sending to you, and as a result, elevate your sex life. Dedicating your time to those 3 points Information or knowledge, emotional skills, and body awareness can really help you elevate your sex life and bring it to the whole new level. Now, I know all of this might sound quite complex and maybe even a little bit overwhelming. And becoming sexually intelligent is not something you can do overnight, so don't expect it from yourself. It's a process, and it's a very rewarding one. One of the things you can do to get closer to this is seek the right information. Whether it is reading some books on this topic, like the one that we talked about in this video, or the ones that I talk about in my other video, watching those fun documentaries about sex on Netflix, watching some sex ad content on YouTube. I've heard they have some pretty good channels over here. Or whichever other way you like getting your information. Just please make sure to check the sources. The last thing we need in this world is more inaccurate information. Or you can also seek external help, like for example working with a sex coach, or working with a sex therapist, or with a tantra teacher. Really, whatever you think is going to help you the best. Or, for example, you can engage in various practices on your own. Anything from those really hot and long masturbation sessions to meditation, really. I mean, honestly, the topic of how you become sexual intelligence really deserves a whole separate video. And there are hundreds of different ways how you can become more sexually intelligent. So obviously listing all of them would not make any sense. What would make sense if figuring out what you feel is going to help you the most. Again, please keep in mind that this is a process. It's a beautiful journey. Do not expect from yourself that one morning you're gonna wake up and be like, hey, where is my sexual intelligence diploma? I felt I've learned everything I possibly could have. Just try to enjoy this beautiful journey of figuring out what is it that you like in sex, and can your partner enjoy this together with you. When we stop thinking about sex as something that needs to succeed and be a certain way, hot, spontaneous, easy, pressure, pressure, pressure. And instead we think about sex as something that can be, well, the way it is. Clumsy, dirty, messy, different, unpredictable. And we can just enjoy the process of it. We're killing completely the possibility of sex being a failure and are opening a huge door to all the endless possibilities of sex being satisfying. Whichever way you define satisfying sex for yourself. Let me know in the comments down below which part of the sexual intelligence model, knowledge or information, emotional skills, and body awareness, do you find the most challenging for yourself? I'd love to find out where you are in your journey. And with that, I wish you all to have juicy sex, whichever way you define juicy sex for yourself. Stop staring at me. Okay, this is over.